this channel. If you're new here, my name is Estelle and I'm running my dream business from home as a bakery owner slash chocolatier. I've got a little Valentine's recipe for you, although you don't have to wait for Valentine's Day to make this. It's also great for Mother's Day, for Christmas, for gifts for friends. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make geometric cake hearts. We're going to be needing a geometric heart mold, a cooling rack with parchment paper underneath, some white chocolates, and then of course you'll be needing some equipment like a spatula and a small palette knife. Alright, so we're going to start by melting our chocolates. If you are looking for tutorials on how to temper chocolates, go have a look on my channel. I am just going to be melting this first for 30 seconds in the microwave, and then I'll remove it from the microwave, give it a good stir, pop it in for another 20 seconds, remove, give it a good stir, and thereafter 10-second intervals until it is nice and smooth. Now for the fun part, I'm going to be adding a little bit of my white chocolate into my ramekin. And then with my luster dust, this one is the peach, I'm going to use the back of my teaspoon and scoop a little bit in. And mix it in. I'm going to pop on a glove. There we go. And now you're just going to smear it into the molds. The concept here is not that you are filling the molds for their shell. We're going to be doing that at a later stage. This is purely just for decoration. So I want to do a couple of designs. So I'll only do 2. And I'm only going a little bit over halfway. So I don't want the whole heart to be covered in white chocolates. Well, in this case, peach chocolates. Make sure to get up to the top. And wherever it's looking like the chocolate is a bit thin, add a tiny bit more color. A little bit more over there. And then we're going to do one more. For my next design, I'm going to be using a bit of Rubine and Xmas Red or Christmas Red. I'm going to be quite generous with the red because I want a really nice vibrant red. I'm just going to add a touch of that. So for this one, we are going to be covering the whole heart in red. Don't be afraid to be generous. And then the 2 at the back over here, I'm also going to be leaving empty because I want to do a different design for those. So make sure you get right up into the corners. And then for the last one, we are going to do a marbled effect. So you've got some of your red chocolates and you are going to add some whites. Now don't mix this in, but try and kind of marble it slightly. Something like that. And now you're just going to pour it straight in. Give your mold a bit of a tap until you start to see air bubbles rise and pop. So what you're going to do now is you are just going to tip it over onto your cooling rack. Give it a tiny bit of a tap just to help it along. Once the dripping has stopped, you can tip it over, grab a palette knife, and just neaten it up. Alright, so now we're going to be filling up the rest of our molds. If your chocolate has already started to harden, just pop it back into the microwave for 10 seconds at a time until it's smooth. Right to the top. I'm going to be a bit conservative with your chocolate, so I'll show you a bit of a trick. Of tipping my hearts out onto the cooling rack and onto a piece of parchment paper, I'm just going to tip it right into the bowl so I can keep reusing the chocolates. So, moving quickly, tip, give it a tap. You can use the back of the palette knife, very gently. And then scrape. There we go. Now I should have enough chocolate to fill 2 more molds. So let me grab my spatula, gather it all together, and moving very quickly, fill up those molds. And now I can go onto the cooling rack just to drain a bit further. And he can join his friend on the cooling rack. So now we are going to leave these to set before we start working on our filling, which is going to be a cake mixture for the hearts. I would recommend, however, if you live in a hot country such as myself, pop them in the fridge before you start adding the filling, else they might not set. Today's pretty hot, so I am going to be popping these in the fridge. I'm just using some brownies. You can also use cake. Now it's time to cap your little hearts. If your chocolate has hardened at all at this point, just make sure that you heat it up in the microwave in 10-second intervals. You don't want it too hot, else it might melt the edges of your hearts. So for the 3 that I did with red, I'm going to cap that off with my red chocolates, and then the rest I'll do with white chocolates. Going to push this into the corners very gently. I'm applying almost no pressure here. I'm actually just moving the chocolate around. Give it a good tap. These are now going to be going into the fridge for a minimum of 2 hours, preferably overnight. If you want to speed up the process, you can pop it in the fridge for about 10 minutes and then into the freezer for about 20 minutes. Now that your chocolate has set in the fridge, mine was 10 minutes in the fridge, 20 minutes in the freezer, you're going to tip them out of their molds. So they should release somewhat easily. Yeah, these ones need a bit of assistance, so I'm just going to gently push onto the mold. For our 2 plain white chocolate hearts, I just want to drizzle over some pink chocolate and then sprinkle with some hearts and silver balls. I decided I also want some drizzle on there. For the 2 pink marbled hearts, I decided I'm going to use some luster dust. This is the color peach. And very, very gently, you just need a fluffy brush, a clean fluffy brush. Very gently, I'm going to dust that, just to give it a bit of shine. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and comment down below if you are going to be making these for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or whenever you do decide to make them. If you enjoy my videos, feel free to watch the above videos.